Are you a business owner or entrepreneur who's had great success in the business world, and now you want to launch a speaking career to share your message with the world? If that's you, then listen up. 25-year speaking industry veteran Brett Ridgway has released his latest special report, 3 key things entrepreneurs must master to build a profitable speaking business. To pick up your copy, go to brettridgway.com/freebie. Welcome to the Spotlight on Speaking show with Brett Ridgway, where you'll learn the keys to building a profitable speaking business from speaking industry pros. Each week, we interview a great guest who will share his or her speaking journey, identify what their keys to success have been, and highlight some critical mistakes they've made along the way that you'll want to avoid. Be sure to visit our website at spotlightonspeaking.com. And while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, sit back, tune in, and get ready to meet this week's guest.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Spotlight on Speaking show with Brett Ridgway. I'm your host, and excited to have as my guest today, Debra Eckerling. Now, Debra is a goal strategist, a workshop leader, and an award-winning author. She's on a mission to change goal culture in and out of the workplace, and she's the author of Your Goal Guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals, and creator of the DEB Method system of goal setting simplified. She is on a mission to, let's say it this way. DEB.
We got the new book too.
There you go. Hold it up there. There you go. Author of 52 Secrets. I can't read the subtitle. For
goal setting and goal getting. How to stay focused, grow your network, and get more done in less time.
All right. So DEB is an acronym for Determine Your Mission, Explore Your Options, and Brainstorm Your Path. So Deb's spoken on the TEDx stage, Vaughn 3, Score LA, Engaging Virtual Meetings Conference, and a lot more than that. And Debra, now that I butchered the opening, welcome to the Spotlight on Speaking show.
I'm so happy to be here because those are the 2 things I love is writing and talking. Speaking, whatever word we want to use. And making new friends. So here we are.
There you go. So what's Vaughn 3? I'm not familiar with that whatsoever.
Okay, so Jeff Beholver, who is like one of the pioneers of voice over IP, so back in the day, does these conferences where people, and I did my event outcome optimization talk the last time I spoke for him, because when you're going to events, you want to get the most out of it. So that's one of the things that I think about, that I speak about. But yeah, that's what Vaughn is. And another acronym that I am going to butcher. Yeah, I feel like we should start over, but let's not. Let's just keep rolling with this because I kind of like that.
It's human, and we're all going to make our trip over our tongue and all that stuff. So we're just going to go with it. So anyway, so when you speak, Deb, are you speaking as a keynote speaker? Are you selling from the stage? Are you just trying to build awareness of your other products and services and hoping people come to you? What's your niche?
I know I'm not supposed to say all of the above. My happy place really is workshops, because one thing I say frequently is you can't reach your goals on your own, you need your people. And so I do a DEB workshop, goal setting simplified, because the whole purpose of my system is you can't get what you want unless you know what that is. And most goal strategists, I'm using air quotes here, talk about, getting to the end point. You can't get what you want unless you know what that is. So I am all about setting the foundation for your goals. And so in the workshop setting, and I love virtual because that's where you get to impact people from everywhere, is because the people who are meeting there, you never know when there's a connection to be made. So as you're going through the process, what is your mission? What do you want to create in the world? And how are you going to make it happen? You could be meeting someone who's got a resource or a service that you need to make your goals reality. So in answer to your question, which I'm kind of doing, I love the workshops. I love doing book events. So 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting just came out. And I've got an upcoming event where there are 4 Angelinos who are in the book. And we're going to do a panel where it's everybody. So for me, it's just all about talking and sharing information to help up level everyone else.
So when you're doing a workshop, Deb, how do you do it differently if it's virtual versus in person? What are the major differences? How do you adjust accordingly?
Well, in person, they get gold stars. Okay. Or I've been leading goal workshops since when I lived in Chicago, and I've lived in LA for more than 25 years. So do whatever math you want. And this is what really started this journey into the goal space, even though my background is communications and project management. But I would be leading these goal circles and where it was all about what are you working on? How can we support you? And what are you working on for next time? And one day someone said, where are our gold stars? And they were kidding. I was not, and I brought them next time. But the little packets of the gold stars, actually, they're different colors. So you could have any color for effort, but the gold ones for achieving your goals. So when I'm doing a workshop in person, I start by passing out the different colored gold stars because in choosing yourself and going to a workshop, you've already accomplished something and deserve to be rewarded. But that's really the only difference because it's all about being interactive. Who wants to share their vision for the life they want? What is your mission statement and how do we turn that into a motto? And then looking at, these are all parts of determine your mission. Great, this is your mission. What do you need to do to turn it into reality? Which is where explore your options come in, and then brainstorm your path is making that plan.
So are these workshops done, Deb, for corporations, associations, just people at large? Anybody can come type thing? I mean, what's the group that you're primarily doing these for?
Again, it's kind of all of the above. In person, I've done a lot for chambers of commerce. So that's a lot of entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, which is really the best model for putting people who don't know each other together. I am also the networking ambassador for Women's National Book Association. I'm on the board of the San Francisco chapter, even though I live in LA, because my publisher is involved with that one, and that got me involved. And again, those we do virtual, which is great. That we live in this post pandemic, still really comfortable with technology culture. And again, it's a different group of people coming together to uplift themselves and their goals. And I also do workshops for events. If someone's got a conference, they will bring me in to do either day one or even a few days before a perhaps session so people can plan for the conference, set their goals. And then the other thing that I'll do is I will go into companies, and the ideal time is like right before the annual reviews. So we will go through Deb, starting with what are your wins over the last year and what are your goals moving forward. So they've got a basis for conversation with their supervisor.
So how do you measure whether a workshop you've done has been successful or not? Because you probably maybe don't get to see the results or what they've actually implemented or whatever. So how do you know as a speaker that you're really making an impact?
This is why I love LinkedIn so much. And this is always, and if you're tuning in, please find me and connect with me. And when I'm doing, especially virtual, it's like put your LinkedIn in the chat, connect with each other because now we are part of the same community. So typically after I do a session, I will get maybe 50% of the attendees or more connecting with me on LinkedIn, thanking me, I love this, I learned something new, which you always want. But I've also heard from people weeks, months, and years later saying that this made a difference for me. And actually recently I did it It was a podcast recording, and then they did a live Zoom audience. So we did a little bit of after chat, and a woman came to me and she said, Deb, I'm having this problem. I've got a client. I don't love the work, but I'm under contract. How do you get motivated for the things that you have to do that don't excite you? And I said, well, sandwich it. Do something you love first, then do the work, and then do something you love afterwards as a reward. And this was midweek. And then on the weekend, she said, I'm on day 2 of implementing this. That was the other thing I told her. I said, pick like 3 days for your week when you're going to do this, and then you get the other 4 days off. So she wrote me, I just finished day 2 of 3 of trying the sandwiching approach, and it worked. So to talk about advice and instant gratification. The other thing, and I did mention years, I have a subspecialty in helping people write their book proposals for nonfiction books and helping them with book development. And I've had on more than one occasion, I met someone one time I was speaking at a university, another time I think it was through my goal group, but somebody reached out and said, okay, Deb, I'm ready to write my book. And it was literally years later.
That's called delayed gratification, right?
I mentioned this on another show recently, not the best business model for people to come back 2 years later and say, okay, I'm ready to work with you. And then the person I was speaking with, no, that's actually a really good model because you made an impression so that years later they knew you were there when they were ready. So I guess both can be true.
All right, so you're a podcast host yourself and you're a podcast guest. So let's focus in on podcasting a little bit. In your opinion, what makes for the perfect podcast guest? Because speakers should be doing guest spots on podcasts.
Oh, I am completely with you on that. And I am also a member of Innovation Women, which is a self-service speakers platform, which focus is to get women on more stages. And we have these Zoom meetings. Well, they do it every week at 9 a.m. Eastern. I'm Pacific time. So twice a month when they do West Coast friendly, I try to attend. But a topic that frequently comes up is, especially on the early stages of speaking, is podcast guesting is speaking. And if you want to work your chops, practice, the podcast is really a great stage to do so. The number one thing that makes a good podcast guest is it's almost a negative. Do not read. Have your talking points, know the things that you want to be discussing, but every now and then I will get a guest who will that they're reading, and I'm like making a mental note because I do 2 shows. So one is Goal Chat Live. So every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific, I bring in 3 guests to dive into a topic of the week. And the other is Taste Buds with Deb, bite-sized conversations about food, cooking, and community. That's one-on-one 20-minute interview show. But for the Goal Chat, if I get someone who's reading, I will make a note that they do not get invited back. It's because I do this, what I was saying before, is because I do a panel show, I have lots of opportunities. I can have a guest on my show a few times a year. I just put them in a different panel, which is great. Because I've got my go-tos. If someone is sick and I need to fill in, I've got a handful of people that I know are going to say yes if I ask. So, but those people who commit the sins of the podcast, they're not going to come back. So the number one thing you do not want to do is read, because that's not okay. The number one thing you do want to do is promote. So you want to share the episodes. If it's a live show, you want to share it before and after. If it's a pre-record, you want to share it on social media and also interact with the comments. So I think the biggest part about speaking, especially in podcasts, isn't it always the speaking? It's the sharing, it's the developing community around your new friends that you meet of the shows that you're guesting on.
All right, so as you think back over your speaking career, if you were giving advice to somebody who's new to the business and they're up and coming speaker, what would you give them as the three biggest keys to delivering a successful speech?
Can I answer a side note and then I will get to the three keys? Because I think speaking young and speaking often is the best thing that you could do developing as a speaker in your youth. I did competitive public speaking a little bit in high school, but in college, it was my social life. I mean, I was on the forensics team. We would go out every weekend and we would talk. And that was the best practice for speaking, but also writing, communicating. So I believe if you could speak, you can do anything. For people up and coming in their career to be speaking, the number one thing is to, whatever your topic is, really own it. So I like to feel like I own Queen of Goals. Now, I've been called that by other people, so I feel it's okay to repeat it. Someone also called me the Goal Whisperer, which I also love. So whatever your topic is, congratulations, you are officially the ruler of that topic because you need to own what it is that you speak about. There may be other people who do it and do it well, and that's good for them. But you need that confidence in knowing your material better than everybody else. That's going to put you ahead. And I talk about this a lot with my book consulting clients as well. If you are doing a topic, own the topic. So you want to really go all in on that. And that is really the most important thing.
All right, that's only one. I need two more.
I'm going to give you two more. Number two is practice, but again, do not read. Have your bullet points when I'm doing, and I do this in person as well as virtual. It used to be PowerPoint. Now I create my decks in Canva. But if you are using, and there's some places I think do not like presentations, and that's fine. You can work with that. But the reason I love presentations is you can put bullet points on there. So you're not even looking at cue cards. So I will say, Deb is determine your mission, explore your options, brainstorm your path. And then a slide under determine your mission, it will have the 5 points. I'm not going to write all the words explaining, visualization, current bio, future bio, mission statement, and motto. Those are the 4 elements to the D. I'm not going to write them out, but I will have them on the presentation. So it's the guide of what I'm talking about. So on your topic, bullet point, don't read. And the third thing is put yourself out there. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. So apply to things, apply to podcasts, reach out to people, get that practice in, especially with the podcasting, because it is a stage and it's not just you on the stage, you're answering questions, so maybe a little less pressure, but get out there, put yourself out there, because you never know who's going to say yes if you don't ask them.
So true. All right, I've got some other ground I want to cover with you, Deb, but before we do, let's take a quick break for a word from our sponsor.
Are you a business owner or entrepreneur who's had great success in the business world, and now you want to launch a speaking career to share your message with the world? If that's you, then listen up. 25-year speaking industry veteran Brett Ridgway has released his latest special report, 3 key things entrepreneurs must master to build a profitable speaking business. To pick up your copy, go to brettridgway.com/freebie.
And we are back with the Spotlight on Speaking show and my guest, Debra Eckerling. So, Debra, I was looking through your media kit before we got on the air today, and you had some talking points that I was quite intrigued by. And one of the things I want to dive into a little bit, because it's one of your sweet spots, so to speak, and that is event outcomes and networking, because speakers need to be networking, whether it's virtually or in person, but there's a lot of things you can do wrong So why don't you, if you would, dive into event outcome optimization a little bit and explain what you mean by that?
Well, event outcome optimization, which I also call pep talks, pre-event planning. This is a workshop that I do for people about to attend events, like I mentioned before. And just like with goals for yourself, in your business, you need goals for when you're going to an event. Now, if it's a networking event versus a conference, it's only a little bit different. If you're going to a conference, you want to be looking at the schedule to see which events you want to attend and who you want to meet, make your plan that way. But I think in a more general sense, when you go to an event, you need to set goals for yourself. So whereas I talk about with the DEB method, determine your mission is all about what do you do, what makes you unique, and how do you help others. When you're creating your mission statement for an event, it's all about how you help yourself. So what are you going to learn? Who do you need to meet? What is going to be a success for you when you leave? And the people you meet, maybe it's you want to meet 5 people who host podcasts. You don't even know their names, but these are the people that you're targeting because you want to get on more podcasts. Or you want to do corporate work, so you're looking for people with the title of what are they using these days? Um, development enrichment, employee enrichment directors. So you're looking for those people. So look to, if you're going to an event, see who's speaking. And if this is the other reason why it's great to host a show, because when you're doing an entree into a conversation, you could be like, I have a podcast, would love to have you on. And it is an immediate action item after the conference. So event outcome optimization is looking at an event, seeing who's going to be there, figuring out what goals that are going to work for you, and actually doing the things so you achieve them.
So aside from not setting a specific goal in advance of an event, what are a couple other key networking mistakes that you see people make that you would advise them highly not to do so?
Your phone is your friend. It is not your ring person at an event. If you are going to an event, keep it in your pocket. If you meet people, you want to take a picture, you want to post it, you want to connect with them on LinkedIn, great. But I think the worst thing that you could do is stand in a corner, reading an email, right? Or scrolling through social. If you're at an event, you want to be present, you want to make the most out of it. So that is the number one thing. The other thing, which is great to do, is if you see someone standing alone, just go up and say hi. You know, they might, as an extrovert who happens to know introverted people actually have in 52 Secrets for goal setting and goal getting, they're all people I know. So they're all, everybody who's shared a secret is a friend, someone I've interviewed, both, or someone in the book who suggested someone else. And one of the people in the book, Bryn Tillman, said, you need to interview Liz Hyman. She is a sales strategist who is an introvert and has a philosophy on networkings. And it's very similar. You know, you go to an event with a plan, know what you can talk about, you know, have your conversation starters in your back pocket if it doesn't come naturally to you. Or again, if you see someone standing alone, go over and say hi, because chances are they're at an event to meet people. And if you can give them a helping hand, you're both going to benefit.
All right, so now we come to the Barrier Soul portion of the program, and that is share with us a mistake you made along your speaking journey that maybe left you a bit red-faced at the time, but a valuable lesson was learned and it would be something you'd highly advise others not to do.
Okay, I really do have a good story for this, and it's more like it's almost like a the lesson came from something that I had written. So you'll let me know if this example works. If not, I will come up with a better one. Um, I had been I've been freelance writing for years, and I had written I started writing dating stories for the Jewish Journal because I had such a bad first date. It deserved to be written about. And that led to me writing other stories on this topic. About, I think, 10 years after I'd written these articles, I reconnected with a friend from Chicago. Oh, what have you been up to? I've been freelancing. And I gave him the URL and I never heard from him again. And it was because I mentioned him in one of the stories. Oops.
Not by name, I hope.
Not by name, but this was and I'm sure he's not following me, but basically I was talking about it was sorry, wrong number, and talking about how people um, give a different impression than necessarily who they are. And I had talked about this guy that I met and we got along. This was back on the phones. It was before the internet dating. This is how long ago the story was. And I met him. It's like, this was a perfect match. All we had to do was meet and, butterflies, hearts, whatever. The first thing he said to me was, "You are not 5'5". You're at least 5'6". Why did you lie about your height?"
Oh man.
I did not. He was shorter than me. Anyway, this is what I referenced in the article. So it was very obvious, only to him, that it was him. My point being, when you are telling stories, be cognizant of your audience and to not alienate anybody. And maybe you will have a great story to share later on, like this one. But really, there's some people who their entire brand is, being un-PC or swearing, potty mouth or whatever. I am very much of the belief that, you don't want to say anything on stage that you would not want someone repeating. So you want to remain professional and friendly. You want to be as authentic as you can, sharing little bits of yourself. So everybody is comfortable and uplifted. So I would just say the biggest mistake you would make would be to go on stage and be someone you are not and alienate people that you do not want to alienate.
All right. So
Did I twist the answer well enough for you?
it'll work, Deborah. It'll work. It's fine. So another
Awesome.
thing you had in your immediate kit that I was kind of intrigued by was the magic of your motto. Do you think a speaker should have a motto, and what do you even mean by that?
I think everybody should have a motto. The magic of your motto is what my TEDx was on. So as I said before, in Determine Your Mission, it's you start with visualization. You think about the life you want. What does that look like? You want to write your current bio and then your future bio so you know who you are now, really leaning into this speaker persona. And then your future bio, what do you want it to say about you 3 years from now? 1 year. I used to say 5 to 10 years. Now I say 1 to 3 years because we're in such an instant society, right?
Yeah.
But the idea is you take the who you are, what makes you unique, and how you help. So you write this really long mission statement, and then you want to distill it into a 3 or 5 word motto. And this is important if you are a consultant, an entrepreneur, a writer, a speaker, anything you do, you want this is your North Star. So mine is goal setting simplified. So everything I create, whether I'm speaking, it's my books, I'm working with a client, I made the instructions really simple because changing your life is challenging enough. So when you've got a motto, it makes every opportunity an easy yes or an easy no. Do you want to speak at this event on this topic? If it's in alignment with your motto, then yes. If it isn't, you ask yourself, well, is there another benefit? If yes, then yes. If no, then say, no, thank you. And you move on. When you say no to something that isn't an opportunity for you, you're saying yes to yourself, but you're also giving someone who it is a fit for the opportunity to say yes.
Right, interesting. So, Deborah, I want to give you a couple of minutes to tell people a little bit more about what it is all that you are doing for folks and how they can get involved in your world if they so choose.
Well, thank you for that. And thank you for the conversation. I always say, and I added this to my bio for the new book. As much as I love writing, I love speaking even more. There's just such magic when you know who you are, what you love, and are able to disseminate that into the world, it just uplifts everyone else and it helps them get better, do better, be better, etc. So you can learn more about me. I am at the DEB Method everywhere on social media, thedebmethod.com. And if you go to thedebmethod.com/workshops, you can see the different things that I do. So you could bring me into your organization or your business to do some original recipe Deb, or also goal setting simplified, or something on event outcome optimization, art and craft of networking, all these different topics. As I mentioned before, I do have a specialty in helping people with nonfiction book proposals. You can learn more about that at thedebmethod.com/bookswithdeb. And if you want to learn more about the DEB method, you can grab a copy of your goal guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals. And if you want inspiration at your fingertips, you can get a copy of 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting, how to stay focused, grow your network, and get more done in less time. As I said, for the book, I interviewed 60 achievers in business, tech, entertainment, food, because of course, food, and asking them what is their secret. So you can either go to the section you need or the advice you need and take it out for a spin and see if it will help you level up your personal and or professional life.
All right, well, very good. So any final words of wisdom for the up-and-comer, Deb?
Yes, if you've been thinking about speaking and you're not speaking, what is stopping you? You know, it just as with goals, it is your life, it is your choice. If you want to speak, really embrace it and set goals. Do a little bit each week, whether it's outreach or working on what you like, your talking points, putting together your one sheet. Do the things and gift yourself the time to do that so you could develop yourself as a speaker, developing your speaking career, because it's all in your hands, so just go for it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Deborah, for being my guest on this episode of the Spotlight on Speaking show. I wish you the greatest of success in all that you do. And of course, to all the listeners out there, thank you for being with us today. And always, may this year be your greatest year yet. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
This has been the Spotlight on Speaking show with Brett Ridgway. Be sure to join us every week as we interview speaking industry pros and have them share their best tips for building a profitable speaking business. Until next week, thank you for tuning in, and remember to visit our website at spotlightonspeaking.com so you can enjoy even more great episodes like this one. While you're here, be sure to subscribe via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Spotlight on Speaking show. Until then, our sincere best wishes to you for the greatest of success as you work to build your own profitable speaking business.